So I think when we're talking about segments, right, that we do switch out, that's when we're talking about our games, right? Those are the ones that definitely keep it a bit more like different, every single episode. And there are definitely ones that we love and we've used a lot more. There's one that I came up with called Letter Bashed, and basically what we do with that is we go to the popular uh, media rating site Letterboxd. I don't know if you've heard it or not. But it's kind of like social media for rating movies and reviewing movies.
Mhm.
And people go on there, and you leave reviews for things. And what we do is we go on and we take the very worst reviews for very popular movies. Like it's half star to 5-star reviews. So we only take half star and 1-star reviews,
Oh my
and
God.
we read them to our guests, and we have them try and guess what the movie they're talking about is just based on the most shitty reviews.
And for the record, sometimes the review is just, Jesus Christ, I fucking hate this movie. And that's the whole review. And we somehow have to decipher which film it is.
That usually, so what we do is like with that one is it gets harder to easier. So like,
right.
And there's always a subject, right? So like we try to like adhere to, so if we're doing like a superhero, like whatever the subject of that episode is a superhero thing, like we might do the subject of Letter Bash is only superhero movies, right? So at least you're like, limited to certain things that you're thinking about, right? It's like not like, you also have to think about sports films and other things like that. It's just, we'll tell you like what you're thinking of. So we do that one a decent amount. I love Madalogs is another one we do, where basically it's like Mad Libs, but we take famous monologues from movies, take out keywords, and then ask our guests to replace them with adjectives, nouns, things like that. And then without them knowing what it's going to be. So like they don't know like what the famous monologue is. And then Adam runs this one a lot, and then he'll put it in and then send it to us, the whole monologue, and then we have to do a dramatic reading of that monologue. From whatever that is. I think my favorite one from this past season, you know which one I'm talking about. But we did an episode about Punk'd. Remember Punk'd?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. But we did like what if Punk'd was in like Victorian England.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna pause right there.
Okay.
Who came up with that? How do you think about it? How do you take Blue's Clues and go, you know what, SVU? Who out of the two of you is the crazier one?
That's a tough question.
That's toughy because there's a lot of times that Adam will just send me random shit in the middle of the day and be like, is this anything? I've been very good about like Adam will send me an idea and then I'll come up with a title for him. I know that's a few times that like that's happened. But it goes back and forth. We both have, these ideas, and we alternate week episode by episode who writes the script.
Okay.
So it goes back and forth between us, so we share the responsibility that way. Punk'd was me, I believe.
It was.
But
well, you initially wanted to do an episode of Punk with the game because it was right around when it came out, Cyberpunk, and you just sent me the name. You're just like Cyberpunk. And I replied and I said, that's a funny name, but is there any actual meat to that idea? And you're like, I'll come back to you on that. And then we kind of changed that one up.
Well, because we ended up doing the Cyberpunk episode separately, and then I still wanted to do a Punk'd episode, so I came up with the, what if it took place in Victorian England?
Yeah.
So that is the big thing, like Adam said earlier, a big part of that is our what if, right? Like we literally just say like, what if, Foster's Home also took in fan fiction, and like, stuff like that for Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, right? Like, what if Finding Nemo was a film noir? In the first season, we also, one of my favorite concepts was, what if Elle Woods from Legally Blonde was a vampire hunter, and stuff like that. So like we did Legally Blade.
That's incredible.
That's all the best
incredible.
names.
So sometimes it starts with the title. There's times that also Adam has sent me like a title and I'm like, okay, but is there anything to that? And he's like, no. and they were like, okay, so let's like go back. And I do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it starts with the title. Sometimes it's literally just one of us being like, hey, I'd love to do an episode about How I Met Your Mother, or I'd love to do an episode about this. And then we'll think of the concept afterwards, just because it's something that we want to talk about.
What if you do like a crossover of like The Godfather and The Little Rascals? Call it Little Godfather.
That's great.
Yeah, there's something there, you know. We haven't done either of those things yet, for sure. So we've already started, you know.
Mob Boss Alfalfa. Man, I gotta tell you, you gotta be some kind of crazy to think of those kind of games. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the clip. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Will Tarashuk, founder of Ambiguous Podcast Solutions. Head over to ambiguouspodcastsolutions.com to find more links in the description to check out everything from the Pitch This podcast, all their games to be played on their podcast. Go find it wherever podcasts are found. Make sure, hit that like button. Bye. See you next time. Another clip in the description. Go click it. You know you want to. Good luck. Love you. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. All right, I've reached my quota.